I tell you right before the show that somebody
I don't know.
bombed the We Are Gonna Die floor with 40 last night?
Oh yeah, you did tell me that. Yeah.
Right? And it had
Yeah.
bounced back a bit, blah, blah, blah. Someone literally just plunked 10, undercut the floor by 0.2 right now onto the floor again. Crazy.
By 0.2.
By 0.2, they went from 1.3 to 1.1 in one mass listing.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting topic to at least just start off with and just and chat about. GM chipper shivers. Yeah. Why do that? Like, so I'm gonna pull. We are all going.
People are already undercutting them. Yeah.
That's what I mean though. Like, fuck. Where's that page? There we go. Okay. For the first time this week, I did not have "We Are All Gonna Die" pulled up. Oh, where's my screen?
I mean, the floor is absurdly big. Like, we're like 5 rows away from 1.5 again. Like, it's just mind.
If you get enough people partaking in the undercutting, you're going to firm that up pretty quickly too. But yeah, what I was going to say is, it's not like there's a lack of volume on this project, and it is actually still early. I mean, it definitely slowed down from what it was, but we're seeing. One every, let's just say 10-ish minutes. When you plonk 10 down,
yeah,
it's gonna just gets fucking buried by 2 or 3 people that are gonna say like, I need to sell too. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's what happened to the guy yesterday. It was at like 1.6 or 1.7. It had cooled off a bit from 1.8. And he plunked a bunch down at 1.4, and then people started undercutting him. I remember it got all the way down to like 1.1, and then it all got sucked up. I think even his got sucked up back to 1.5, and now people have just kept.
I guess what they're trying to do would be like make the price so enticing that people are like, oh, this is a buy, while dropping the price low enough that people don't want to undercut you. But I don't think I shouldn't say most. There are a lot of people that I don't think really pay attention to the listing depths too much, and they just see, oh, floor went down and I need to sell, like undercut. You know what I mean?
It's not only that too. These are different types of collection. These were all free mints. Okay.
Yeah.
People are going to panic much.
Nothing worse than missing out on the opportunity for a big profit and then bag holding a free mint.
Right. Well, that's the point. Is like anybody who got this for free, they, the minute it gets to a certain high, like that's how much money they've made. And as it goes down, they feel dumber and dumber. Like, I didn't sell this free buy. We have seen this thing go from 0 to 1 to 0.4 to 1.2 to 0.6 to 1.7 to 1 to what, like, and it's just because anytime volume slows, people like, all right, that was it. The fad's over, blah, blah, blah. And look, no one's saying one day they won't be right or they can't be right. But look, you place your bets. And I mean, I am wildly bullish here. They literally one slow day yesterday and you see people panicking like this. I'm not worried in the least, based on how innovative they have been so far. And as I say that, the stock market opened, and of course, the minute
ding.
ETH took a leg down, we had been kind of straddling 1800 all morning. At some point, we rallied to 1830. Looked like it looked like we were going to break out of range. But then, guess what? Christine Lagarde got up on the podium and started talking. And if you don't know who that is, that is president of the ECB, the European Central Bank, who has been behind the 8 ball on inflation, mainly because whereas in the United States, we have the strongest economy any of you have ever seen in your lifetimes. And I say this regularly and people roll their eyes and laugh, but I'm dead ass serious. This is the strongest economy you've ever seen in your lifetime. And the Fed is very justified in raising rates in the face of extremely high persistent inflation. In Europe, they ain't growing for shit. And they haven't been growing for shit for a long time. And it's because they're a bunch of socialists over there. But for, whatever, whatever you want to say, because they weren't growing, they're not as quick to respond. So you know, they start raising rates, you kill that economy. Well, it would take a feather to put them into recession. They're barely growing most of the time anyway. They work 20 hours a week, lazy, like come on. Let's get our shit together. So all markets looked kind of happy before the ECB conference, and then ECB starts to get a little hawkish. We're raising rates 25 bips, and it's funny because for the European Union, that's hawkish, 25 bips. It's like they're 3 months behind the 8 ball here. They're going to raise 25 bips. Everyone's scared all of a sudden. Well, you know, this caused the S&P and ETH and Bitcoin to fall. Somebody took that opportunity to short $9 million worth of Bitcoin.
I was gonna say, fuck, 9 billion is a big number.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. That's a big bet.
Well, if the short gets I guess squeezed, could be pretty.
Oh no, it would be epic. I can't imagine if somebody shorted $9 billion of Bitcoin.
Oh, people would be after it.
The thinnest market you could imagine. It would probably push it down to 16,000, and it would be bought so quick. It would be, you wouldn't know it would. You'd see it on the news and be like, "Oh, that happened today. I missed that." That was a 3-second craziest thing anyone's ever seen. So,
I remember the flash crash of ETH back down to like $1 when it was like 400 or 500 back in 2017.
We've even seen it in traditional market. Everyone knows about the high frequency trading flash crash that was triggered by a guy in his basement, believe it or not.
Yeah, sometimes the sell orders line up.
Over trading size, basically tricked HFT algorithms into a negative feedback loop that caused stocks like random blue chip companies to be down 50% intraday, making, it was, if you were leveraged or long, you may have been wiped out that day. If you were somehow neutral or short, it may have made your quarter. It was quite the time. It could happen a lot easier.
Dude, I remember. Well, back to the ETH thing. I remember there were people like, I had a joke buy order of like $1,000 for ETH at $10, and it got filled. Like, wow. It was just because, like, yeah, like just fucking hit, like just as like, oh, like I don't know.
Not bad advice to all you guys out there. Go play some fucking crazy ass limit, or like 16,000 is actually a great place to place an order like that. If you have
liquid and you just cancel the order and you need to use it.
Yeah. Right. Of course. But
crazy things have happened. You're not leaving that for 2 years tied up just because it could happen. But like, if it's just sitting there, yeah, I mean, it has happened before.
Yeah, if it's 1% of your account.
I think that this market's probably a little beefier for sure. But yeah, back in those days, the volume was obviously a lot lower. The market caps were a lot lower, and people that had huge amounts of them, like, yeah, that one guy basically just saw an opportunity to just slam the floor and just cause this cascading effect of sell orders to spike. And
kind of relative.
The floor. Yeah.
It's kind of relative though, because I'll tell you, now that Citadel and BlackRock are publicly getting into crypto, the type
we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. God.
Yeah. There are underlying bullish currents that it's very hard to care when you have the macro backdrop that we do, because look, like I said, I don't know what the CPI number. I'm a speculator like all of you. I'm good sometimes, I'm off sometimes. I'm guessing what the CPI number is going to be. We don't really know, all right? Maybe shit gets a lot worse. Maybe it's a surprise that's better. We don't really know. So we will, but it is very, very dependent right now on inflation. It's just what everybody is watching. If we got a soft inflation number tomorrow, it would give the Fed plenty of excuses. They probably wouldn't do anything for June because we're in June. It's already set. If you surprise, you don't want to surprise markets to the upside either. The Fed doesn't want volatility in either direction. They don't want to trigger some sort of ungodly melt up either. And 2 weeks or a week before they're supposed to meet to raise 50 bips, they're not going to tell you they're doing 25 or pause, because again, you would cause some ungodly melt up in risk assets, which doesn't help anything right now. If anything, you want an orderly move back up, or whatever. So I don't think it would affect now. But if we do get a soft CPI tomorrow, you could start to hear them talking about 25 bips in the next meeting, not this one coming up, the one after it, or even pausing later in the year, or just talking about how next year they don't expect to have to raise rates that much. They think that being aggressive this year is going to have done enough that they don't have to continue into 2023, which again should be enough for a summer counter rally if they can pull it off. So I like today, I would not care what the market does. Like wherever we opened, I think we opened like 20 points higher than we are right now. I bet you we close right around there, whether we go up intraday or down intraday. Everyone's just in waiting mode for tomorrow's numbers. So I would ignore what happens today, and we'll all 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. It's the Super Bowl in finance. CPI number coming.
Oof. What are we expecting? Or is there?
I'll go get the estimates for you right now.
I also just, while you're doing that, I pulled up the charts, of course, as we always do. Man, the last 24 hours of ETH has been so tight in the range, because I saw this and I pulled it up. I'm like, oh my God, we just got a massive dump. It went from 1,800 to 1792. It dropped $8, but that's what the chart looks like, just because it's so condensed within this like tiny little, basically $30 to $40 spread. Yeah, $40 there, right? So that's the last 24 hours in ETH. ETH right now, of course, hovering around that 1,800 mark, slightly below. But we're just getting some action in between basically 1,900 and 1,700 right now. Bitcoin hovering around 30,000. Again, Bitcoin's shockingly stable, and this is obviously a rolling number, but up 1% on the week. ETH down 2%. Nothing crazy there. So S&P being open also is down 14 points. So and if 41 right now.
If you guys were here yesterday, we talked a lot about this overnight Asian volatility that we saw 3 days in a row and a couple weekends in a row, and speculating as to what it could be, that it could have been a certain type of option strategy called a straddle, where you bet on being contained within a range versus moving in one direction or the other. So the person kept basically selling gamma every time it got near one of their strikes. So we wanted to see if that would happen again last night, and it was the opposite. It was just like R2 said, very tight range, very quiet. And remember, over the weekend, the reason I started to get bullish, like feeling really bullish, and we saw that pop like up to 1,900, it was because ETH was quiet. Like when ETH gets super quiet and just goes in that really, really tight range sideways, that tends to be a favor to bulls. Not that it can't break down, but in TradFi, there is a saying that you never short a boring market. And given how concentrated and more volatile crypto is, that boring period of like 2 days is like 4 weeks in traditional markets. So the fact that ETH has just been pasted in this tight range, maybe it's bullish, but again, guys, whatever is happening right now, you might as well, it doesn't matter, because tomorrow we have the CPI print. We are estimating 8% on the CPI. Mind-boggling, guys. Mind-boggling inflation. This is what the government is admitting to you. Okay, 8%. Mind-boggling. If we get greater than say 8.3, okay, we're gonna tank. I don't give a shit what I've said. I don't care what anybody else says. If inflation comes in above 8.3%, we are going to tank. Okay. If we come in within range, say 8 to 8.3, somebody in there, I think we're going to have a very volatile day in which we're going to rally and dump at the same time. And then the balance coming out next week, I do believe will be higher. I do think that the market wants to at least relief bounce to 4,300. Now, if we do get the bullish option, which would be less than 8%, I think we're getting a massive pump into options expiration next week in TradFi, which obviously translates into ETH and Bitcoin.
And do they play this game where it's like, let's estimate a little bit higher so that expectations are exceeded when we know it's coming in lower? Or is that not really something they do?
I would not. Now, again, you know,
like one of those things like, aren't you glad I lied to you? Like,
yeah, yes, we would say that they are probably doing this. None of us actually know what's going into the exact calculation. I mean, they tell you what they're calculating, but yes, the government does fudge numbers on purpose to make themselves look better. It's not dramatic. They're not going to outright lie. But they will try to lessen blows or increase or emphasize good news, so to say.
Yeah. Well, and actually, this is one of the reasons why I initially really liked Michael Saylor, listening to him talk before he went like full blown, just like I'm going to post every day about cyber hornets and shit. I still like him, but you know, he put on a really good podcast. He was on a podcast and he put on like just a great thing about explaining inflation and why those numbers are a generic kind of like sense of the market, but it doesn't really tell the whole story because inflation is really relative to the individual, right? If you are trying to buy a house and that is your goal, inflation is house prices, right? So I can personally say that like trying to buy a house, inflation has been a lot higher than that for a while now because the house prices are just completely outpacing that 8%. I could guarantee it.
Well,
and then like on the contrary, like if you're living at home with your parents, you're 20 years old, you're not in school right now, and you're just sitting in your the basement playing video games, eating pizza and Mountain Dew. Inflation to you is how much the price of Mountain Dew has gone up, which might not be anything, right? And it was just like a really good thing because a lot of people getting like, 8% inflation. It's like, yeah, but what is the inflation to your cost of living? If you drive a lot, the inflation has been a lot higher for you, right? So I find that interesting.
Food and energy affects anyone because energy prices, whether you drive or not, affects how expensive it is to get the goods you want to you. And I'll be quite frank, inflation's at 15%. Okay, CPI is not the best gauge. It is a fudge. They leave out things that, again, I am not an Austrian economist. I do not believe the Fed is, the Illuminati manipulating all of us and printing us into oblivion and all that.
I typically do not subscribe to those either.
Yeah, but I do, look. But at the same time, they leave shit out of CPI that to your average person walking down the street, inflation is 15% right now. There's no denying that. I think the only debate, I believe, amongst economists who aren't being political, okay, because it's very hard to decipher who has political bias and other motivations for saying what they're going to say. But if you're just looking at everything rationally and saying what's going on, the real question is, what is causing inflation? What is the major drive of inflation? Okay, is it the tight labor pool we have right now? Is it the fast-growing economy we have right now? To an extent, but we all know that the larger cause here is the war in the breadbasket of Europe, which is Ukraine, which is causing commodity prices to go absolutely fucking ham. And the supply chain issues coming out of China, which has been locked down for months and is just reopening. So if you take those two factors off the table, inflation would still be high, but it would not be anywhere near where the Fed has to be aggressively raising rates in the manner in which they are. Those two things are going to abate. And I know on financial news and on the cable news channel, you don't hear, it's irresponsible to say things like that. You're not supposed to. If you look at every other conflict and every other issue that's been happening over decades and decades of history in modern times, these things abate. And I think they're going to. So, we're going to have a double dip, in my opinion, in the fall. And there will be more bad inflation numbers. And the conflict in Ukraine may flame up again at that time. I think it'll be the last moment. And I think those things will relax and we'll head into 2023 without those things weighing on the market. And we're just going to have to deal with the repercussions of what were. I actually think we may go into a technical recession in the early part of 2023. And by technical recession, I mean you get the 2 GDP prints in a row that you need to say that. But I believe by the time those prints come through, we will actually already be out of the recession. Like it will be a recession by the numbers, but not one that is felt on Main Street, if that makes sense. And if you want evidence for how this recession is not being felt on Main Street, and again, this is not a recession, but people who are talking about how bad economic times are, go look at airline capacity right now. Airline capacity is pre-COVID levels. Prices are through the roof. People are traveling. They have money. They're spending. They don't give a fuck. This is a very, very bifurcated economy where you have rampant inflation causing the Fed to try to kill the labor market, but a very wealthy and happy populace out there spending and continuing to pay these prices, especially on the stuff they want.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the final thing is like that I would kind of finish off this conversation with is it is funny how it's hard, right? Because not everyone is into the economy or learning about economics and stuff like that, but there's some critical thinking components that I don't think people always think through. Like I always see people ranting on Instagram. One of the popular ones here is like, oh, Canada's gas prices is through the roof, and a minimal amount of research will show that we don't even use Russian oil, so if we don't, then it's all just a lie. They're just scamming you and ripping you off. And I'm like, that's not how this works. Just because we don't use it doesn't mean that other people didn't. Just because those other people now can't get petrol for their car that they need, they're gonna up the price to be like, hey, we need to get some of this shit in here. It's just one of those things. It was just like,
you're getting their petrol. We're
I know. It's
gas to Europe.
Right? Blows my mind, man. Sometimes, and again, like I don't demand that everyone, studies economics, but if you're gonna go post some fucking outlandish statement on social media and say, and in the process say do a little bit of research, like maybe you should do a little bit of research. Like it
affects everyone, but no one understands it.
Well, and that's like food prices, right? Like Russia is a major supplier of wheat to so much of the African and Middle Eastern countries.
Right.
And where are they? They still have to eat or try to eat. And so they're going to increase the demand on everything else, which means that all of the Western world is going to have to pay more because they're now competing with a shortage. Like
it's almost like this was on purpose.
What do you mean, the invasion?
Yeah, but it was not. It has little to do. It has little to do with him caring about Ukraine becoming part of the USSR again. It has to do with
he wants to destabilize
and get the Axis. I mean, there are a lot of military experts that expected China to invade Taiwan. Had the initial push into Ukraine been more successful for Putin, people believe that China would have tried to move into Taiwan at that same time. And do not discount that everything happening in North Korea right now is under the direction of Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin.
It's not and that this isn't like deep level conspiracy theory stuff either. Like we're not like going down some weird rabbit hole. Like these are all
Go listen to the most recent press conference with the Korean ambassador to the United States talking about what North Korea is doing right now in relation to China and Russia. It is mind-boggling, and I don't know how dumb. I don't know if we're playing stupid in public or we really are that ignorant to what is happening right now. But this is a pretty obvious ploy by this Axis, this opposing force in the world, who
they're proxy wars.
Right.
All right. Let's I actually just pulled this article up because it came up while we were kind of talking about things, and I think it's cool. And I do think like it might be a good segue from what we were just talking about, just with that like education and literacy thing. Jay-Z and Jack Dorsey launching Bitcoin Academy at the rapper's childhood home in Brooklyn. So this is in the Marcy houses, which he often references. They're going to be hosting free financial literacy programs to anybody that lives there and offering dinner up for them too. I think that's awesome. Just I constantly see it too, and this isn't a lot of times exclusive to a class level or whatever, but like financial literacy is very poor. I'm happy to say that they seem to be focusing on it a little bit more in elementary and middle schools here now, which is good. But I mean, I remember last year there was an article locally to me that said, back in 1990s, early 1990s, this woman won a lottery and she bought a cottage up in like the prime real estate for cottage country here for like $200,000. And now in 2020, she sold it for $1.1 million, right? Wow. Everyone, like all the comments on the article are like, wow, she hit the lottery twice. Like, that's just incredible or whatever. If you do the like the ROI over 30 years on that investment, it was 8%, right? 8%.
More than anyone will get in real estate ever going forward. But okay, go ahead.
Well, no, but that's the thing. But that's not including the property tax that you have to pay, the maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. Like,
homes are a terrible investment, especially if you live in.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, a home is a great. You want a place to live. You want a place to feel comfortable. It's your place and stuff like that. A cottage, you spend time there. There's family. That stuff is priceless, and I'm not saying that doesn't make it all worth it. My whole thing about that was just that from a financial standpoint, people were being like, man, so lucky this woman won. Like, no, if you had spent $200,000 or if you just put $200,000 in the S&P over that time, you would have outperformed that investment. But people just don't they don't have it they haven't been taught to like look at things like in that regard, right? And I just think that going forward, that's going to be really, really important.
Housing,
I love seeing stuff like this. Yeah,
real estate is a store of value at best. It's an inflation hedge.
It's a savings account in a lot of ways. You take the bank. Let's just say bank gives you $500,000 so that you have this place that you live, and you're just paying that back. And at the end, you have a whole bunch of equity built into it, and it's appreciated in value. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, if you were like, I have $1 million, what am I going to just plop it down in? Real estate is not always the best way. Now, it can be good for like cash generating, like a cash flow generating business if you're going to rent it and maintain it and do multifamily stuff like that. But that requires a lot of effort. You got to hire staff. You got to you have to keep it occupied. You have to trust that the residents are going to take care of your property. You have to pay insurance. Like, that is a business. But like, just owning a property, other than for like your own personal, like, I need to live in this and I want to enjoy it. Like, yeah, there's a big, I always thought big misconception of it, of what it is. So
if you can pay cash up front and buy in somewhere where real estate's going to be hot and turn into a resort area, it can be a very good investment. Otherwise, it's an inflation hedge.
Yeah, but it's like picking stocks at that point. Like, if you pick a great area that blows up, I mean, if you bought in the outskirts of Toronto 30 years ago, like you're fucking laughing now. You have definitely outperformed. But
I used to live down the street from here, and a lot of people may not know that Marcy is in Williamsburg. Okay, and it's a very interesting thing that you've seen there, given the gentrification in that area. And these projects haven't gone anywhere, right? So you have these incredibly wealthy areas that have sprung up around these projects, and it disparages people because the businesses that open up start to price people out, and it creates these unfortunate situations for people who didn't, wasn't a fault of their own. It's just where they lived and what was happening around.
Well, even for homeowners in some rougher areas of urban cores and stuff like that, like everything around them starts to go up in value. Now their property goes up in value, and all of a sudden their property taxes become almost unmaintainable for them, right, and get pushed out. So my city's going through that a lot, like a lot of different pockets. Anyways, I just saw that pop up, didn't even get a chance to read it, but I skimmed it, but that's pretty good. Obviously there's going to be some Bitcoin and crypto involved in there, but anytime somebody says financial literacy for free, I'm in. It's good. Anthony Hopkins adopts Ethereum name, asks Snoop Dogg what NFT to buy.
No photo, please. Thank you.
The Oscar-winning actor started Zero Contact, a film released via NFTs last year. Now he's looking to buy his first NFT. Fuck it. Sir Anthony Hopkins. I mean, this guy's legit. I love it.
Moonpay out there doing God's work, baby.
And I don't know. Like, here's the thing, right? To most people listening to this, I think everybody acknowledges that Anthony Hopkins is a brilliant actor. He's been around forever. Great movies he's been in. All of this stuff. He is incredibly influential and probably the most respected person amongst actors, right?
Yes.
Like, this is an actor's actor.
He's the godfather of acting.
100%.
In the industry. And for an older generation to go,
sure,
guys into digital what now?
Yeah. No, this is a huge legitimizer to a whole demographic of people, but I think actors being the biggest one. He's going to host a dinner party and have a bunch of Ryan Gosling or someone over, and like, what's that? Oh, like, it's my NFT collection. I'm like, oh, cool. No. That's how this shit starts, right? I got to get some of those. Anthony Hopkins has one. I need a Fidenza too.
Oof, God.
Yes, but
Gen Art, you tidwits, go buy Gen Art.
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I mean, Anthony Hopkins is not buying a fucking Goblin Town.
It would probably pump the project.
It would.
Now they may see new highs if he does
that. Bryan Cranston, of course, of Breaking Bad, received a letter in the mail from Anthony Hopkins saying that Anthony Hopkins put on Breaking Bad to check it out. And binge watched the entire series in the span of, I think, a week or two, something crazy. Like, those are long episodes, and like he just said, I couldn't take his eyes off it. Anthony Hopkins in that letter said, "This is peak television, and I do not expect to see anything better in my lifetime." And I mean, Bryan Cranston was just gushing over this letter. Like, this was just the most profound. Like, Anthony Hopkins is not only watching my show, but saying it's the best TV show he's ever seen. I mean, this guy is ultra.
I think he told that
respected.
Story on Charlie Rose, the Charlie Rose show.
Could be. Yeah.
And you remember Charlie Rose?
The name sounds familiar.
They got him. Yeah, they got him. Louis C.K.
Okay. Oh, was it one of those? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Charlie Rose not ringing a bell.
Yeah. Like Louis C.K. is young enough to bounce back when it all blows over. Charlie, he'd probably just retire. He's not. He doesn't need this shit.
This is pretty cool, though. I guess we'll. He's asking for opinions, so I guess we'll see what he ends up buying. I have no doubt that he'll end up sharing it. But
this definitely seems to be like the Moonpay. Because like he tagged Jimmy and Snoop and like
Reese Witherspoon. Yeah,
it's part of that celebrity cabal or what. don't think it means anything. It doesn't mean anything to me either way. But it is pretty obvious. And
I gotta say, Anthony Hopkins is probably of a wealth level and of an age where, like, you know, MoonPay being like, we'll pay you $500,000 or $1 million, like, it's probably not moving the needle for him a ton if it's something he doesn't want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that, like, any kind of endorsement at that point isn't like, I got to get my bag now while I'm still famous.
Even someone like Eminem, like, you know, people come at me, he was just, I'm like, he has hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. What could possibly MoonPay have offered him to make him do something he didn't want to do?
No, 100%.
I'm not saying that, like, he's not going to take free money when it's handed to him, but I feel like he wanted to do it anyway, and it was just convenient. Like, that's just my thought here. But, you know,
right. Or they introduced him to the actual concept of it, and, like, in showing him, they're like, oh, this is pretty dope. Like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
That said, I'm sure there's a bunch of second and third tier celebrities who couldn't give a shit about NFTs that would take that MoonPay check in a minute to say that they bought, you know, some cool cat or something. So,
Anthony Hopkins, Jimmy Fallon, Reese Witherspoon, they are not hurting for money.
Absurdly wealthy. I mean, these people own production. They're not actors. They own production company. They're very wealthy people. I think they think it's cool. That's all. And look.
Kobe approves.
Fanboying though, yeah, I told you to go check it out. Kobe, like, come on my show. I am pretty sure he has made Kobe bullish on the Ethereum network again. Bottom is in, up only. Let's fucking go.
Please, God, deliver me someone that can get this man on Up Only TV. Please, God, I will do anything. I will never sin again.
I thought his girlfriend was in Hollywood. I thought she was like a PR agent in Hollywood. He must be able to ask his girl.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, isn't that how we got the?
Yeah, that's how we got the check and the Kobe.
Yeah. R.I.P. Crypto Cobain.
Ask your girl.
This guy fucking rugged me, man.
What?
He rugged me.
Oh yes, he did. So perfectly too. Like
unbelievable timing. I
obviously was watching your account. Obviously. Like, I know a lot of these crypto guys, they only want to be following like a small amount of people. And I'll notice them like my shit. And I'm like, did the algorithm put them in, or do they put me in a list where they're able to follow me without giving me the follow? It happens all the time. I know when I'm getting likes from people who don't follow me, I'm likely on one of their lists, but they don't. Because you can populate people into a Twitter list without following them, which is great. Because it's de facto following them without having to. So, yeah. I think you were on one of his lists there.
I don't know why. I think my BitClout profile was much more entertaining than my Twitter profile. But I should. Yeah, I've just never. I don't know.
Don't. Just lose the seed phrase. It's not even worth it.
Oh, no. Sorry, I was not going to say I should go back to BitClout. What I was going to say was, like, I should try and put some effort into Twitter like I did BitClout. Like, I used to do a lot of threads and stuff like that. But it was all very, like, BitClout circle jerk. Like, oh, this is why BitClout's the greatest thing in the world.
No, you the best, Bakram. And do you know
what about me? What the fuck?
Do you know what they call BitClout now? I don't even tell you.
What do they call it? DeSo?
No.
Oh,
it's called DAO.
Wait, they changed the name again?
They changed the name. I am not kidding you. It is DAO.
All the money they brought in, and they couldn't have hired a fucking marketer.
DAO.
That's like
the DAO of DAO. DAO.
Shut up. You're lying to me.
You fucking
DeSo proto. Damn, that's what a shame. That was so much potential.
What a fucking shame.
They did not need to do NFTs on there. I think we were bullish on it.
But a lot of things. Yeah. Look. I don't know.
No, okay. Nobody wants to hear about this.
No one wants. No, we gotta look into these soul tokens. What the fuck are these?
Soulbound tokens?
Talking about
SBTs?
Yeah, I
do you know what the concept of it?
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, explain it to me in detail like I'm 5 years old. I'm not
pull a chair up and listen.
please.
Okay, so the concept behind
Can I take a
soulbound.
hit while you do this?
Hmm?
Can I take a hit while you do this?
You can, yes.
Okay, thank
I was
you.
like, I could take a gummy, but it's not going to kick in for a little while. Just okay, everyone just sit here and wait for 20 minutes. Well, no. Okay, so the concept of soulbound tokens is that you have your Ethereum address that is linked to you. A soulbound token is something that once it gets transferred to you can never leave that wallet address. Does that seem stupid? Maybe, but it's not really for something that you're trading or something that you're going to say has any kind of external value to anybody else. But the concept is okay.
Is that a smart contract? Like that's just a fancy, like you would just code that into the contract, like it can't leave.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just the same as like an NFT that you said, like never transferable again. But I think there's probably a little bit more to it technically. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes to call it a SBT rather than a non-transferable, non-fungible token or something like that. But essentially, like, great for the idea of I go to school, I go and get an education, I complete it, I graduate. The university or college issues me a soulbound token that is now exclusive to my Ethereum address, and I can prove on chain that I went to this school, I went for this long, I did all of these courses, I got all of these grades in these courses, it was issued on this date, and there's no disputing it. You can't falsify that token because of course on the blockchain everything is provable. Birth certificates could be something like that.
Would you argue that a true ENS, like if you were using an ENS as your true web identity, it shouldn't be able to be transferred to, like, let's say it was your outright name or something.
Yeah, I think that there could be a use case or a demand for non-transferable ENS names, like essentially, like, you know, we talk about the Twitter check mark, right? Like,
you
know,
security issue.
If you want to change the password and the email address to a Twitter profile, like, you should have to go through Twitter, the company, Twitter, an employee, to verify that you know, on the phone, on a voice call or something. Yes, I am this person. Yes, I need to change it. The soulbound token is like, yeah, it's just,
I got our first Wagdy scam with one of those. Yes, someone was imitating "We Are Gonna Die" and had it verified. They had changed PFP. That's how you know we made it.
Is Wagdy even verified?
No. It was so bad too. Like, they didn't have the name right. It was verified when Wagdy is. It was just stupid.
Yeah. GM guys, yeah, you love both of us. I appreciate that, man. I was just busting you.
Something like an SBT or a soulbound token. It sounds so complicated and obfuscated.
It sounds like something out of a Diablo game. Like, the naming is not there.
It sounds like something I would invest in and the public wouldn't understand for months and is going to 1000x. So whoever is creating this first SBT, please.
Yeah, but you can't invest in it. That's the thing. How you can't have a soulbound.
Well, there's got to be a company that'll and release a token, and it'll be $SBT, and it'll 100x on Uniswap, that type.
All
Just
right.
give me some sort of Ponzi proxy for the idea. That's all I'm asking for. Thank you.
Gnomeville gonna burn a goblin very soon. That's the new meta now. Let's burn shit.
I am so.
Watch the world burn.
It's one thing to have derivatives. It's what there's this project out there that is using the same Gothic font to do their things as a. And it just bothers me because it could, every time I look down, I go, oh, it's a Wagdian, and then it's this other thing, and it just pisses me off. But yeah. Go ahead, burn a goblin. Good, they're going to 0. It's not, Goblinville, or what is it called? Goblin WTF.
I'm just gonna cut you off really quickly, but I'm not changing the subject, guys. Honestly, we didn't have a ton to talk about today. I mean, the market's going completely sideways. NFTs, like we're gonna bring up in a little bit. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, like, chat away and start throwing it out there. I am cool to just vibe on whatever you guys want to talk about. Go.
Yeah. yesterday, Goblin Town had a Spaces. They had about 750 people in it the whole time, and it was the same bit. It was like the same routine. You know, that shit always gets old after a while. And Wagdy just 2 days before had 2,000 people almost in the room. All the fanfare, all the attention. And look, I'm sure it'll happen to Wagdy one day too. And everyone will go in the room and no one will care. It'll be like, oh, it's the same bit over and over again, and they'll be dead. But I just think, Goblins had their moment. And this happens with every fucking hot collab. It happened to Azuki. It happened to Doodle. They get derived to hell. It's so boring now. Like
when we were in that that session with Beef in Star Wolves, he mentioned something about once the mutant got sent to the burn, the CCO is off of it or something, and like it's fair game for anybody to use it now.
So I retweet. So I forgot. I thought we talked about this.
We didn't. No.
Now let's talk about a couple things that's making WAGD seem like it's more than it is. Okay. I actually brought up soulbound tokens because someone speculated that WAGD could be one of the first ones in that sense. Now, again, obviously the ones we have right now could be transferred. They uploaded a new contract to mainnet last night. We don't know what it is or why. Okay. We know that it obviously plays into their lore. Something else is coming. And the people who voluntarily burn their WAGDs, maybe the benefits of whatever this new contract is, we don't know. It's a mystery, but there's a lot going on here. First of all, the amount of WAGDs that were burned, they removed that amount from the royalties. That surprised a lot of people. We talked about that the other day. They repaid the people who papered during the OpenSea delisting. Another cool thing this project did. And why did they burn an ape? Okay, everyone say, it's a marketing ploy. They just, whatever, what was the point of it? What value does it actually add? Well, now that ape is in the burn wallet, and the burn wallet is owned by nobody. And in the United States of America, where Yuga Labs...
Are we sure it's not owned by anybody?
We've always.
Could you imagine just a brilliant burn this
do you know the history of the burn wallet? Is it something Vitalik or the ETH Foundation?
Isn't it just 00000? I think the ETH address is just zero.
That's what I mean. Isn't it on purpose? Like
yes. I'm just kidding.
No. I honestly didn't know. I thought it could have just been some guy who said he lost his keys, and this was the legend of the burn wallet, and everyone says it there. I had no clue, honestly.
Yeah, this guy's just raking in tons of
Yeah. Oh, it does? That's crazy. Did you see how it ends in dead?
Does it?
Yeah, it ends at 0x000 dead. That's great. So the burn of the mutant, now it's owned by nobody, okay? Yuga Labs does not own it, okay? The burn wallet owns it, and now that IP is open source. Why is it open source? Because in the United States of America, I've talked to 2 lawyers in the last few days about this. A friend who's a patent lawyer, and another lawyer as well, just to see. I'm sure there will be a range of opinions, and I am very curious to see how it plays out. But because it is now in the burn wallet, it is public domain. Because in order to bring an IP lawsuit in the United States, there must be someone who owns it. Like the person who owns it has to bring that lawsuit. The state or the feds don't bring property cases before the court. It has to be initiated by the person who owns the property. Nobody owns this property. So for you to take this ape and put it in a movie, put it on your bag of weed, a jar of hot sauce, whatever you wanted to do, there would be nobody to sue you. Who could sue you for using the IP? It is a public ape. So now everyone's going, wait a minute, this is a CCO project. They just took an ape and turned it public domain. What are they doing here? There is a lot, we had said this from the beginning, but just like everything in NFTs, you never know whether it's the project just like creating mystery for no reason or whether there's actually something here. From the beginning, Ether orcs who know this team have been saying, guys, there's a lot of lore here. There is more to this than you expect. It's not a P2E. It's not a game. We're not saying that they're not going to launch some sort of game, but you can see now it is a game. It's just being played out in the real world. This is gamification. It is not what you would think of as a game. So many things going on. What? There's someone reversed the WAGD audio. Oh, it's so interesting. Okay, because they keep, if you guys don't know, they keep releasing audio clips. They released 2 yesterday, and everyone is trying to analyze what they mean. They leave clues in them. That's how people had figured out they were going to burn a mutant ape. That's how people had figured out certain aspects. And did you see that the floor got sopped up? That guy's 1.1 got bought real quick. They look so good, man. These feel classic to me. I don't know. They feel classic. If I had to call them something. So now we know that they've been working on this for 8 months. What's going on behind the scenes here? I wonder. This is interesting stuff. I think anybody papering right now is a victim of what I just said. It was a free mint. You see it turn into, $4,000. It's hard to you'll feel like an idiot if it falls to 0.2. You're like, oh, it's a free mint. It can just fall back to zero again. But I'm telling you, there's a lot here. And I think some of the most important participants in our industry and game are part of it. And they want to know what's coming next. And I see big things. Oh, look, that's mine.
This is?
Isn't that mine?
Did you pay 3.7 ETH for it?
What the fuck? Someone did not pay 37 ETH for that.
3.7.
Oh,
calm your tits. Whew. Yeah, you'd be listing that immediately.
Insta list. I'll take 33% less than what it was right now. No, because I got one rare in the ones that I minted, and initially they were going for 1. Then someone sold one for 1.5, 2.5. Then yesterday there was the 3.7. Now the floor on that trade is 5.6. The most expensive one's 8.88. And I do think those will get cleaned up on the next sweep above 2 ETH here in the next few days as they make their next move. But, WAGD, I think it has captured the attention for the moment, and who knows how long it's going to last. Maybe this turns into an elite project that has an absurdly high floor. Maybe the hype dies down, but I do think for now they have captured the current zeitgeist. They were written about on Vice yesterday. Vice wrote an article saying
that's got to be a top signal.
Vice, well, it was yesterday because we were at 1.8 and we're at 1.3 right now.
Oh, Vice is in sell.
Yeah, Vice wrote an article yesterday saying we are all gonna die becomes the #1 project, leaping ahead of Bored Ape Yacht Club. Now, we know that headline is sensational because, yes, I'm sure on a 24-hour chart that you pull up, they've leapt ahead in volume of every project. It's of course. People.
Yeah, except that
right.
Except that 6 Bored Ape sales would leap that or reflip.
Exactly. So any project that's hot can jump above Yuga on any given day. And look, thank you, Vice, for the headline. Please be as sensationalist as possible. Pump us to 10 ETH. But so
Bored Apes does 1,000 ETH a day in volume off a dozen sales.
Yeah, and hey, 10,000 in volume in the amount of time this has been around is mind-bogglingly impressive. Hat tip, all that good stuff. But yeah, that was a sensationalist headline. I still appreciate the assist from Vice, and it just shows that this has already started to kind of penetrate a little bit of mainstream mindshare. The idea that it's dark and occult and weird and Illuminati-ish and part of this controversial thing called NFTs and overtaking that goofy celebrity project that everybody, hype boys about. That's, I think, a decent story for the mainstream press. So glad it was picked up.
Making headlines. I like
Making
it.
headlines.
No, they're having fun too, right? Like I think the people behind this, whoever they are probably genuinely behind the scenes being like, this is fucking awesome.
I think they
not
love
even
it.
well, I mean they're definitely making some ETH too, but like, you know, I think it's just like it's you know, I think they feel like right now they just have the finger, you know, the NFT market on a rope, and they're just having fun with it, you know.
You know what? And it's enough ETH to congratulate them, but not enough ETH to think they're going to run away to an island and say, "See, it was just CCO to begin with." Right? Like I like everything. It feels like they threaded a perfect needle right here. So I could say, even with these pullbacks the last couple of days, I continue to be bullish on WAGD, and I guess the next week or two will prove out whether that was smart or whether the hype got the best of me. But man, I'll tell you, I get straight ASMR listening to their recordings and their spaces. It's very, man.
Are you saying you didn't from the Goblin spaces?
Oh my God. Like, that's the thing. And again, you've heard me on this show laud and talk about how much I've loved the Goblin phenomena for weeks, telling people who hated it that they're out of their, all that stuff. That said, it's a disgusting piss hole.
I'm glad we could just call it for what it is.
It literally is. Like, they're a urine cult. It's a lot. It's based on urine. And what they did was amazing. But I do think that bit got a little old. The spaces had half as many people.
But there's only so much that you can enjoy.
Right. It's
that, unless you like really enjoy that, and then you're all in.
We have seen that in so many. Remember the goop, and everyone was gooping for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Goop. Like, that shit is fun when numbers go up, but the moment numbers start to go down, that shit gets old quick.
Well, yeah, we saw that in Raid Party too, right?
Yeah,
the FUD, the joking, FUD the shit out of it, blah blah blah. The second it actually started going down, everyone's like, "Okay, let's stop this now. This isn't funny anymore."
I am not saying that WAGD is necessarily something. It'll be the same thing. All this stuff that gives me ASMR and all that. Believe me, it ain't gonna do that when number go down. But you know, we are here to play these hype cycles. This is what we're doing. So I'm just trying to identify them. I'm not trying to fun anybody's bags in Goblins. That was one of the greatest fucking runs of the year. I did scream that 9 ETH was the top, so I hope you did sell.
I think that's why the apes it was just so easy, because it's just the apes. They're just such a good meme to have.
They're a perfect NFT project.
Yeah. Ape in, apes go crazy, apes, blah blah blah. Like, it was just a number go down, ape back in, number go up, we're aping, ape, you know, that fuck whatever. I'm sure that people weren't sitting at their computer doing that, but like that, you know, that was just the general theme of what they had going on before everyone started taking it so seriously.
True.
Now I just see constant reminders on my Twitter feed of like a Bored Ape holder reminding everyone, if they needed a reminder, that Yuga's the best.
Well, I mean, you know, when I told you the other night, when I didn't know if the mutant burning thing would work, quote unquote, from a PR standpoint, but when I saw a bunch of apes being salty little bitches on the timeline, I was like, oh, okay, this worked. It's gonna do so. Like, they need to go burn something conscious. That's why I'm saying burning a goblin would be great. Because
I just find it is so funny. I mean, I guess these things are grails, and like, why would you do this? Blah blah blah. Like, I get that part of it.
Seen R2. The one they burnt was my favorite mutant of all time. But guess what? I own it now. I'm very happy. I can use that mutant any way I want. This is great.
Yeah, talk about a sold down token.
Dude, if you don't think I'm planning on putting that ape and my WAGDs on weed bags, on like dead ass, I am gonna go consult with a few people and show them this ape and be like, this is what you gotta flex on your packaging. This thing is gorgeous, and you know, he's like a jungle explorer. He's got his safari hat on and the parrot on his shoulder. He's a themed ape. He's a clean one. You know, like that was a great one to make public domain. You could do so much with that, branding wise.
OpenSea just retweeted a Nickelodeon NFT.
Like, oh, breaking news. Oh shit!
But that was retweeted by OpenSea.
Oh shit! No, like, let's think for a second.
The 90s called "They Want Your Attention Back." If you're reading this, you're early.
Oh wow! Ooh. You know what? Whoever's over at Viacom, Shout out to Darby. Is that you, Darby?
Official.
Darby. Don't lie to me, Darby. Did you do this? I gotta ask Darby if that was him. Aisha, go ask Darby if that was him.
Yeah. Yeah, normally I would see this pop up and be like, oh, great. You know, someone's... Yeah, OpenSea. The official OpenSea account. Probably nothing.
Yes, Dikenza, the Ropsten merge is it's going well because we haven't heard anything. Okay, so you know it's a weird situation where it's
it's not going to make price go up, but a bad situation might make price go down.
Well, I mean, I think if devs can come out in the next few hours, because remember it went live I think about an hour from now. If devs can come out in the next few hours, say everything is going great. It looks like we're going to be right on to this Celio. What is it called? Celioa? There's one more test net after this before mainnet. I forget.
No, I think there's like 3, but yeah.
Celioa or something like that. Oh, is there 3?
Yeah, there's a bunch, yeah.
Yeah, so if we get devs saying how great this is going and all that shit, I think it can help pump. Look, I do think this is going to cause a positive news cycle that will reflect in price. I think it's hard to know because, like we said, if nothing is happening, it means it's good. So how do you report that? If something goes wrong, you know what to report because, oh, we found this bug. It's this thing. If things are going well, it's just like, well, it's going well. Yep, still going well. Still going okay. There's nothing to say, right? It's just like, so hopefully we can have some devs come out and like, put some nice positive spin on whatever's gone on the last 24 hours in ETH land. So far, since ETH is just sitting at 1,800 all night, you know it's going well. you know nothing wrong, nothing bad has happened yet, because believe me, it'd be reflected in price right now.
Here's a headline.
You got a headline?
Woman awarded $5.2 million from insurance after getting an STD from her ex in the back of his Hyundai. Nice.
So it was the car insurance company that.
The car insurance company had to pay. Yeah, interesting.
Well, I'll be damned.
The back of a Hyundai. Nice. Sorry, that just popped up on my phone, and I had to share. It's a big number.
Wow, what a thin floor. One good sweep, we're back at 1.5. I'm not obsessed, R2. You're obsessed. Calm down. You got to stop talking about it. We need to talk about it later.
Well, we are all going to die.
Yes.
Eventually. Cool, man. Yeah. You know what? What's that?
You know what I'm doing? I'm enrolling in a course to learn how to set up my own validator.
Oh, okay, cool. For when the merge goes live, you're gonna put your 32 ETH in?
32 ETH.
There you go. What is the expected like ROI of that?
I can't get a clear fucking answer. Bears tell me 5%, bulls tell me 20%. I have no idea what's true.
Yeah, even I know that this is blasphemy in the NFT world and the crypto world, but even 10% on an appreciating asset like ETH is
5% is going to handily beat inflation over time. It's just not one of those things where you could think putting 32 ETH in is going to make you rich. Because at 5%, like, that'll take out a nice chunk of your expenses by 2030, but it's not going to, I don't think it's retirement money. You put in a few hundred ETH. Yeah.
Well, 30. Well, okay, hold on. Let's do some quick math here. Let's just say conservatively, Ether is worth 10K in 8 years.
Right. Because I do, like I said yesterday, I think it's going to go to 100 and then fall to 10 in 2031. So.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean. Well, it's going to does it compound?
I think I don't know. That's a great, well, would it compound? I don't know. I don't know.
Question. I'm wondering if like the rewards get paid out into the staking contract.
Yeah, I don't think they reinvested. I think
can you add because I know 32 is the minimum. Is it?
Yeah, you can put as much as you want. You can put fucking
no. But what I'm asking is, can you re-add it into that 32, or is it like whatever your initial transaction and that's the law? That's the law one.
I'll be able to tell you in a week after.
Yeah, good call. Check back in next week when you learn how to stake 32 into
unless
Ethereum
anyone in the
2.0.
audience knows, tell us. We'd love to know.
Well, that's kind of why I just started throwing it out there. Sometimes people come out with a good one.
No, like you know, I think most people would be fine with Rocket, whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about, right? The Rocket Pool or whatever. It's you could, if you have less than 32 ETH, you can get whatever the yield is on Rocket.
Minus a small fee, I think.
Yeah, minus a small fee, but you haven't set up your own validator. You haven't contributed to decentralization. And like, I am not doing it as some sort of like, I want to be part of the decentralization movement. I find it cool. There's something that feels like, there's something that feels amazing about setting up a box in your house that makes
you're not wrong though. It does require people to be like, yeah, I want to do this for the betterment of the network. It sounds corny. It's like voting.
Yeah.
Everyone says my vote doesn't matter. Somebody else is going to do it in large amounts. And, you know, what does it make? But you still go out and vote because, you know, you want to contribute to it, whether it's win or lose. And voting is a whole fucking other different story. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Now, most people don't have 32 spare ETH to jump into this, but even contributing to pools and stuff like that, like, yeah, there is an element of, not even an element, you are securing the network decentrally by setting these up and participating in it. And the more people that do it, the better it is for you. That is the economic incentive and alignment that they create in these networks, right? It's not just pure Ponzi, number go up because we need more money to go in. Great. Like, there is real value in people participating.
Rocket Pool doesn't just exist because people have less than 32 ETH. Running your own node is work, right? Like, you need to make sure that it's validating correctly. You need to make sure your software is always up to date so that it's not falling behind of other people. And you also have to have your electricity. Oh, you got to think about backup electricity if something goes, especially, I mean, you're in an urban area, it's less common, but obviously if you live out in a suburban area where blackouts could be a real possibility.
I live in an urban area and I get fucking blackouts all the time.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know, if your validator goes down, that's going to cut into your yield dramatically. So you have to, there are backups and there are actually services that are kind of like Rocket Pool and will only take over your validating if your electricity goes down. So it like will shift to cloud validation only if your electricity goes. There's a lot of interesting options out there, but just understand what you're paying someone like Rocket Pool for is all that work. Like, that's, you know, you have to set up your validator. You got to make sure it's running properly. And that means software and the electricity that's feeding it. So,
if I recall correctly, there's actually a Bitcoin node or validator that's on a satellite orbiting Earth.
Interesting.
So that if the entire planet lost power and everything went down, there would still be a Bitcoin validator out there.
At least the 7 people that remained on the space station.
Yeah, aiming their like phone with a charger, like, oh, get my Bitcoin out. Like, yeah, obviously.
Guys, we've lost all our friends and family and everything we've ever known, but
this sounds like it's something a Bitcoin maxi would say. Like, don't worry, I still got my keys.
We at least have a viable currency for the civilization we're about to create. Now, let's get the bucket.
BTC, good project. Send it. Yeah, I agree. I wish I had agreed sooner.
Mr. Keck. Nice PFP. That isn't Shubs, is it? Has he changed his moniker, Mr. Keck?
Oh man, who knows?
I don't know. I like you though. That's, you know, you give me a Pepe bear with a Keck, and we're best friends. So, yeah.
The man with a million faces.
I was telling R2 before the show. I've come around. It is.
Yeah, there you go.
I've come around on the corn. I like the corn now. The bits corn. The corn bits, because there is an NFT on the corn network called Rare Pepes. These are the grail memes of our industry, and one day will be in museums if the wealthy people who hold them are nice enough to lend them out. Bullish on Bitcoin, rare Pepes.
Music to my ears hearing you say that.
What do you mean nation building, R2? There's rare Pepes to be minted.
FMC likes fuck it, you're either sending it or also top signal.
Look, at least come on. I waited till 50% down to get bullish. You got to give me that. I was very bearish on Bitcoin at the top. Now, conversely, I was bullish on ETH at the top, but we don't have to talk about that. We can move on. I still think ETH is going to 10,000. Fuck everyone.
I wouldn't say that's out of the question. I just never. You will not convince me that a single ether will flip a single Bitcoin.
Nominal dollar or like in any way.
I could see a world where the market cap flips. I personally don't subscribe to that, but no, like I don't think one Bitcoin, one ether.
Well, if it deflated, and I mean, if the supply came more in line, it's possible. It's just there's so much more ETH than Bitcoin. It would be quite the.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I don't see a world where ETH market cap is 12 times that of Bitcoin.
Right. So I mean, you don't see it, but you wouldn't say no. You wouldn't say no. You're supposed to go, of course I wouldn't say no.
Of course I wouldn't say no.
There's a new tweet from Wagdy. Are we at 4 ETH yet? Did we go to 4 ETH?
New tweet from Wagdy, and then we're gonna wrap this show up. Where's my thing?
Wagdy. All right. Us, you travel. The hum of her light grows stronger. The beam of her glory extends deep into the heavens. The light.
Like you're reading 50 Shades of Grey right now.
The light is unbearable to look at.
What does it mean?
We don't know. But they there's a lot of ways you could try to break down their clues. Like they capitalize certain letters. Certain language they use has played into the traits of the collection. It's just, it's reading tea leaves at this. It's fun. And maybe someone's going to stumble upon the right theory. But boy, they're very mysterious. And we like it.
Ponzi.
I don't think I ever called 14K. I believe I called 10K and 33K. I've never said 14 is a weird price target. I would never call 14K. I've called 33 because I think we're going to get to 33K at some point. And I've called 10 and I've called 100,000. But that's going to happen when all of you are so rich, it's believable. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Right now, it's hard to believe. 30x from now.
Is it? I just don't think it is. I personally, we've said it the whole way. Oh, one day ETH's going to hit 1K. One day it's going to hit 2K.
100.
One day, no, I'm saying all the way along. I've witnessed it happen.
Never do the 1K one again. Start at 2K if you do that analogy next time.
Oh no! Oh, yeah. Let's rewind 5 years. No, I mean there were times where someone was like, "Man, imagine if Bitcoin hit $1." Just imagine.
That was a good 100x at one point. Oh, probably when I would have bailed.
Why wouldn't you? They're why is one Bitcoin worth $1 American dollar? This doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just digital money. Like that's fine. You need to go through these steps and these learning curves and creating believers out of it. Anybody that's watched it go from $1 to $100 to $1,000, back down to $100, up to 10,000, 20,000, back down, you will never be able to convince them that $1 million is out of the realm of possibility anymore because you've seen it all.
Yep.
If you've never owned crypto anymore, there's going to be people that say Bitcoin at 30,000, that seems a little expensive.
The move from 200 to 2,000 and the move from 6,000 to 45,000 on Bitcoin one of the fucking greatest things I've ever seen. I mean, that was up only for multiple weeks.
Okay, say that again. Sorry.
When it was, what was it, a year ago now, or a year and a half ago, when ETH went from 200 to 2,000 and Bitcoin went from 6K to 45K. Holy fuck!
Yeah,
that was just one of the greatest things I have ever witnessed.
And you know what, actually, I have my own little personal validation because I'm not a big trader. I'm not somebody that looks at charts and goes, this looks juicy. I have an email that I sent to a family member who was inquiring, or we were having conversations about Bitcoin, genuine ones. And they were saying, like, I don't own any, but like, it's very fascinating to me. And then I think like 3 or 4 weeks later, I just sent an email to them. I said, hey, just let you know, like, I've been acquiring Bitcoin for a while. They knew that already. But I said, it really looks like it's coiling up and about to make a big move there. And like about a week after, like, it started getting aggressive up. And then, for the next 3-4 months, I think it was just like up only right to the 45K. It was but that's when you get people being like, should I buy some Bitcoin now? I'm like, no, I told you at 6K. Like,
well, it's that meme, right? Like the line of people right now, the line of people out lined up to buy ETH at 1,800 is 2 of us. If it goes to 4,000, the line's going to be out the door. Everyone's going to be asking me again, oh, FMC, is it time? I'm like, what? Come on. Like, they do this to me with NFTs too. It's very, very hard when you buy something early and then it ramps that much to take, even when you're still bullish on it. It's so hard to tell people to buy at that point. Like, it happens every single time.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody comes up to me and like it says, should I buy now? And it basically just 3x'd or something, I would say, just start dollar cost averaging for the next 2 years.
And like, I'm not, because I did it with WAGD. Like, I tweeted about WAGD for I don't know how long, and then at 0.6, 1.2, people are asking me to buy, and it sucks. The people I said no to at 0.6 are like, oh, at 1.8 now. How? I was like, you don't know what to fucking tell someone when something's already like 6x from where it started. Because it's just so easy to have a 50% pullback at that point.
And then they're looking at you like, oh, like, told me to buy.
Well, I don't fucking know. Then they panic out and it ramps the other way another 10x. It's like, well, that's stocks. So that's life.
I really do think that like a strong background in poker is very beneficial in things like this.
We used to say something all the time at the table. Poker is life. Life is poker. You can attribute it to especially risk mitigation, right? This is logic. This is logic, math, and risk mitigation. No, Dickens. Oh, you don't know.
We were talking about it. Not.
R2 and I have to link.
If ETH was still at $4,000, I would consider it.
If ETH is at $4,000 next year, R2 and I will go play the main event together. But no, I didn't have I have so much going on right now, and it's killing me because all the homies are out there having. It's the first one. First of all, they're doing it at the Paris this year. Did you see? Now that the Rio is no more.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. I don't know, but everyone's saying it's lovely. I mean, $20 hot dogs, but everyone's saying it's lovely. And eating is always an issue at the WSOP. It's like your options tend to be expensive Vegas restaurants, room service, or what, right? And like they set up food courts just for the WSOP, and they're such a ripoff. Like, it's insane. And it's bad food.
Oh, they got you though, right?
Yeah, well, the thing, luckily, like when I'm playing professional competitive poker, I'm not the hungriest. Like when I enter poker tournaments, food is usually the last thing I'm thinking about.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I remember pulling some of those 12, 15-hour sessions, and by the end of it, you're like, oh, I gotta get something to eat. And
I know.
You go up to the pit boss and like, just comp me something, man. And,
I was always impressed that the guys would just be sitting at the table, foot up, eating and shit. I'm like, look, I did it professionally for years. I'd still get butterflies at the big events. I always thought it was good. It kept me sharp. Like I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
I did not want to be like so lit. But it's the guys who it came naturally to. They were fine. You know, they'd eat at the table, not pay a ton of it. They seemed to do fine. It was just it had to come naturally to you. You can't force it.
The poker room that I used to play at, you used to not be able to eat at the table. They eventually did change it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. It's gross. People, you know, depending on what they're eating, people are fucking slobs.
no
Poker
tuna.
players are slobs.
Gotta stop eating tuna in public, everybody. It's just
Yeah.
I'd get a massage now and again. That I did like. I liked getting the massage.
Chips are nasty. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you see them all stick together and stuff. It's just fucking grime on them.
And nowadays, I mean, now you got people wearing gloves because of COVID. Nobody wants to touch the chips now. I mean, shit.
This guy gets it.
They changed the chips though this year. They're different. I don't know if they're better or worse, but
don't they change the chips every year?
They changed the style too.
Yeah, because they don't want people to be like
the material, like not just the. They changed the way they look every year, but they changed.
Yeah.
They changed the material or something this year. I heard. The only reason poker players ever care is whether it's like the same ease to shuffle them or not. Like you just don't want to change that. So they're like, wait a minute, can't do my 20 fucking stack shuffle.
Yeah. I could never do 20.
I do 20.
You could do 20? I think I got up to 16.
I also used to be an amateur magician, so I was good with chips and cards and shit.
You just keep surprising. You would be. Were you one of those kids that went up to tables at restaurants and started fucking?
You know, everything that I've done kind of feeds into it. The same skill set.
And now for my next act.
It's charm. That's the real skill set. It's charm. Some people will needle you at the table, right? Some people's strategy is to put you off kilter by needling you. I want you to feel so bad for calling me down, you hesitate to do it. Hey, you'd be surprised. I'm not saying it works on a consummate pro.
No.
But you would be surprised how chatting it up with Nancy from Chattanooga will get her to lay down some tougher hands.
Oh yeah. That's part of the act in live poker, man. You want people to like you, not hate you.
Right?
Yeah.
I have had guys literally tell me, like, bro, fold because I have the nuts, and they flip afterwards and show me like they had the absolute nuts. I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like World Poker Tour, we're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The guy he wanted me to stay. He liked me. Like, what the fuck is that?
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, like, then you get the people that everybody hates, and you just get them. They'll fucking call you down all the way because they just
Mike the Mouth and Phil Hellmuth. They're the famous assholes in our game. They're the ones who, but you know, they have their reasons too.
If you play it right and you know how to play into it, it's great.
How to do it. It comes naturally.
But if you're just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole, you're gonna have a tough time.
Plus, especially that a lot of these guys.
I forgot about
yeah. But a lot of these guys turned into de facto actors, right? They became kind of celebrities. So they started playing into these personas to get TV appearances and get that side money and all that type of stuff. So, but if being the needling asshole comes naturally to you, I've seen that strategy work too. They throw people off and have them do stupid shit.
Daniel Negreanu is a perfect example of somebody that everyone just really likes.
Yeah.
And like, despite the fact that this guy wins tournaments and makes tens of millions of dollars playing poker, they'll still be like, "All right, Daniel, you got this one." Like, yeah. No, I like you. I'm like, this guy's fucking fleecing you.
I mean, he was one of the best at calling out your hand to the suit. Yeah. This motherfucker, no reason to know, like, had nothing to do with what was on the board. He would just be like, you have a 10 of spades and a 3 of diamonds. Nailed it. Like, the motherfucker is psychic. Like, and you know what I really think you start to take in subconscious cues you don't even know you're doing. Like seriously looking at you, it becomes like the Matrix, right? Like, you know where the cards are in the deck without having to know. Like, and obviously it's not every time, and he get blah 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 blah. But like when you're in that zone, I'm telling you, I've done it before. Like you get into this, you're practically psychic. You feel it. You like know where the cards are and shit. It's crazy. Yeah, game theory was a bit. We used to read a lot of university game theory books, like shit that we didn't understand and stuff. I still have a bunch of them.
Yeah, who's the older guy that was like a game theory genius? Green.
Barry Greenstein.
Yes,
He briefly worked at Oracle. I mean, he was a funny case. Everyone thought he was a software millionaire, and that's why he wasn't. He was a struggling poker player. He just happened to work in software, and he was big into game theory. Like, the game used to be all about feel back in the day. Little bit of math here and there. Stewie Unger completely changed how poker was played because he employed game theory without knowing that's what he was doing. And as that started to become the norm, people started to adapt literal game theory into their repertoire, because he played a style of poker that countered how everybody else played, and people just never adjusted to him for a decade. Like, it was insane. He won everything for a stretch. People could not adjust to what he was doing.
Started to realize that looser could be better if you knew how to play the proper aggro with it.
Right, well, and especially in a live poker tournament, right? Like, you're not seeing enough hands to sit there and wait for good cards. There's a timer on your back. Yeah. He figured out, like, you need to be. It was very.
And at the time, it was tilting too. What are you doing playing that junk? But you were like, you can mathematically justify, calling a 2-bet that, like, 4 people cold called into, and you're sitting on the dealer button and be like, man, I'm getting 7-1 on this just to see a flop. Like, easy.
He ruined lives. I mean, like, it reminds me of Tom Durr. I mean, if you guys know who Durr is,
Tom Dwan,
yeah, Tom Dwan. He went by Durr on Full Tilt.
He was psychotic. People were like, this guy's just on that. When he first was running through the ranks, people were like, this guy's just on the heater of a lifetime. Like, he's just gonna lose it all. You're gonna see him in a cardboard box in a year. And no, he's like just one of the most prolific minds. I was like Phil Galfond.
Yeah, no, Galfond. He unbelievably smart guy. Oof,
oh, it's crazy.
Scary smart. Like, he definitely scary fucking smart. But yeah, Tom Dwan always felt like the second coming of Unger to me. Like, that's how outside the box and good this kid was. No question.
He still is, right? Like, I don't know who's in that circle now. There's like a live poker, high stakes poker channel.
It moved out of Macau, didn't it? Macau was so hot for a minute. I don't think anyone anymore. I think everyone came back.
Well, there's new season of high stakes poker that I'd like to watch, and I think you can just live stream it now.
Yeah.
Those were always the ones I really liked. Just that cash game, home game, like people standing up, leaving, coming back, rotating players. Like, yeah, those are amazing.
You know what I loved seeing? I loved seeing when a pro would get busted at the table and then put more money on it. Okay, because in a tournament, you just got to walk away with your tail between your legs. You have no recourse. In a cash game, if you truly think you have an edge over somebody, you don't give a shit that he busted your table stack. You put another stack right on that table and know you're going to have an edge over them. But now, I'm not saying some players just get tilted and keep losing their money, but these guys playing on that level, if they truly think they have that 1% edge over the opponent, they don't care that they were busted once. They put more racks right on the table. And I love seeing a guy get busted, put another rack on the table, and then come back. That's poker, man. Like, tournaments are, I love them, but it's just it's a totally different game where the cards matter less and less than sitting there at the table. Play a much wider.
Your edge is a lot higher in tournaments just because you have, I think, a lot of just amateur people that either win satellite tournaments or they're just like, I just always wanted to play in the World Series. I've saved up my 10 grand. I'm just gonna go fucking do it. It's great, but you don't get to just leave when you're up, right? Like, oh, I put in a good session. Like, yeah, you don't just get to book your win. Like, you actually have to play. So you have to run pretty good for a while. Like, I think by and large, until the field gets pretty thin, you're typically one of the best players at the table. Whereas like a stacked cash game like that, like, you know, their edges are very thin, and they're just waiting for one or two whales to come down and plunk some money down to say that they played with the big boys, right?
Yeah, they will play very soft against each other until a mark.
Oh yeah,
and it's a whole racket
because they don't have rakes in those games either, right? Like they just pay the session fee, and or in that case, like they're probably just.
And then they always keep a stack of $5 and $10.
Stack of $5 and $10 what? I think you got rugged.
They always keep a stack of $5 and $10 chips to tip the dealer.
Are there $10 chips?
Yeah, $5 and $10. That's the thing.
What color is a $10 chip? I don't remember a $10 chip.
They're $10 chip.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the casino I went to never had them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I genuinely like the 1, the 250, the 5, and then the 25.
Right.
100, 500.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that there aren't $10 chips. I've never experienced one.
No, you're right, in general. For sure.
Am I? Okay.
I'm thinking in my mind that they tip them $5 or $10 instead of. You would think that when they have, you know, $25,000 chips in front of them, they'd throw $100 to the dealer, but it only happens on very rare large hands.
Well, going back to Daniel Negreanu, he grew up somewhere in the area that I am in. I can't remember specifically where, but the casino that I used to frequent, every once in a while, he would walk in when he was, you know, back visiting family or whatever. He'd sit at the lowest limit table, and full disclosure, like I used to play and specialize in limit hold'em, not no limit. There was no limit game at the casino that I had.
That was Daniel's specialty too.
Yeah. There was no limit games at the casino, and their theory was like, we have a really robust limit ecosystem going. The second that you introduce no limit, it's dead. But they had lots of cool things like the half kill and the kill, which kind of made it a little juicier and stuff like that. But yeah, he would come in, he would sit at the lowest limit game, which was literally $1, $2. He'd bring like $1,000 to the table and just like every hand splash, raise, call, like he was into the river on every single hand, win or lose. At the end of it, he would go, guys, this was fun, and then he would just like throw all of his chips at the dealer and say, see ya. Like just tip his entire stack.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just you know, that was a big blind in some of the games he was playing. It didn't matter to him.
Yeah. So. Well, that was what you'd always wonder, like, oh, these guys have millions and they're only tipping the dealer $5 or $10 per hand. But you know,
oh shit, the dealer deals $20 a hand. There's you know, or 20 hands an hour. Like they're doing all right.
I mean, getting to be the dealer at the big game in Bobby's room is like being a waiter at Le Sturk or something. It's you won the fucking dealer lottery. Like that's as good a game as you'll ever deal.
But there's a lot of work too. I mean, they're calculating all the time.
Oh,
like,
and
pot totals and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, you need to be one of the best. You do not fuck up a hand at that table. Or
no,
you do not.
No, they'll call the pit boss. Say, get this guy out of here.
You'll never deal that table again.
Deal it again. No.
But I mean, the dealers that they put, they're the best. A good dealer is a breath. They're a machine. They're a machine. Yeah. They're a breath of fresh air.
And they keep the action going too. Like they will hold players like, okay, come on. Or like, stop talking. Like, let's get this going. Right. Like the new timid dealers, they don't, oh, this guy's a regular. And they're like, no, John, shut the fuck up and play the hand. Like, come on.
The World Series, that's where the World Series, because they have to hire tons of temps, tons of players who aren't on that level. Obviously, only the best get to deal final tables and featured tables and things like that. But it's you noticed it because they have automatic shufflers now, so it's not like the dealer even has to do any shuffling. It's just like you said, keeping pace with the game, doing the calculations properly, no mistake. I mean, if you make one fucking mistake as the dealer, two people start yelling at you. They have to call over the pit. then they ask for it's such a pain in the ass. Like, people are very touchy. One hand could fuck your whole tournament up. So pain in the ass.
Man, I got the itch. I want to just go degen some blackjack and poker. I loved Limit though, man. It was, the beautiful thing about Limit in a live setting, in a room that had no limit, and it sad to say that this doesn't exist there anymore, but people would go to that casino all the time, and everywhere you would see no limit cash, especially back in like the peak poker days. No limit cash games, no limit tournaments. Everything was no limit. You played no limit with your buddies, and they would sit down and be like, "What's this limit bullshit?" Like, "Oh, blah 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 blah," and they would try and play it like no limit. It's an entirely different game, and your edge was so juicy every time a couple of these guys or girls sat down at the table and be like, because they would go on tilt. "Why are you calling with that? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Fucking, it's Limit, baby. Like, you could do shit like this because you're playing an entirely different game." And it was fucking fat for sure.
No limit players should never play Limit.
No, it's frustrating. It's infuriating. You can't. "Oh, I just want to bet you off the hand. That should have been mine." Like, yeah, okay.
Then once
you can't. Yeah. What's that?
I said, then once you adjust, it's actually fun.
Yeah, no, there's a different kind of game theory involved in it for sure. But you have a lot more control in your downside.
The first poker site I ever played on was 888.
Yeah,
back in the day. Interesting that comes back around in NFTs. But first poker site I played on was 888, and I think I played a little on Paradise, but it was mainly 888, and it was Limit. They didn't have no limit originally. So
Golden Palace Poker was my first.
Your first one? Yeah. Paradise.
No. Hold on. Sorry. True Poker was. But Golden.
I remember True.
Yeah, the 3D one.
The 3D one.
Golden Palace was awesome because I was in high school, and it was very difficult to get things set up to be able to put your own money on it because I was underage and whatnot. But they used to have like a main chat room.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a pretty small community, but they used to hold these impromptu trivia sessions, right? So me and my friend would always be watching out for these, and then immediately like, get on there, and they would start asking trivia questions. If you got the answer right first, they would ship you like $5 or $10, even if your account wasn't like real money verified, right? So, if you had like a little bit of a run good and you banged out, and it wasn't that hard to get some of the answers right. Like, again, this isn't like 40,000 people like clamoring at getting $5 or $10. Like, it was smaller. You get your account funded with $30 that day, $40 and whatnot. And, you kind of just run it up because the games were so soft back then too. Yeah. So that was fun. Yeah. I mean,
lots of, yeah.
I was too young to realize that, the game was going to get better.
Party poker changed the game.
Party poker, yeah.
That was woof.
Never played on Party that much.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Stars and Full Tilt for sure.
Here is just an interesting bit of info that, again, I am not a conspiracy theorist, so you all can make of this what you will. But Nancy Pelosi aped into tech stocks a day ago, and tech stocks are very interest rate sensitive companies. That is why they are the poster child of this pullback. When inflation is high and interest rates go up, tech goes down. Well, we're getting a read on inflation tomorrow that government officials are privy to before it gets announced, just so you guys know.
Incredible to me that they're okay. So like, again, like I get it, free market and all of this stuff that you want people to be. It is mind-boggling to me that they are allowed to invest in individual stocks.
Now, the new rule is that they have to
disclose.
Yeah, that's how we know. Like,
still, even if they have to disclose, they get to front run.
I know. Oh yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Now technically, there's only I don't know exactly how many, but it's only the people in the Fed that should be having access right now to this number. Like, they have the number already. They already know what the CPI is right now.
They should. I feel like they should only be able to invest in like broad, well-diversified index funds, right? No.
Yeah, but look, this is America. You're not taking away anybody's guns or their right to buy individual stock. So the again, make of it what you will. Obviously tech stocks are down, some of them 80% this year. She could just be bargain shopping because tech ain't
Why not?
tech ain't going much lower, even if again we have this
Actually, thanks for reminding me. I have a bunch of cash that I want to deploy into. I'll probably just start buying into the ARK stocks again.
Okay, I have said this multiple times. 2 years ago, I got bearish on tech, and I got very bullish on natural gas, commodities, and old man stocks. I am now bearish on commodities, old man stocks, and natural gas, and I'm rotating into tech. I was a little early on tech, and maybe I'm a little early getting bullish on tech again. But I think the next 2 years are going to be a counter cycle to the decade-long trend. I called for a decade-long bull market in commodities, and I still believe that. I'm not going full bear on commodities forever, but I think commodities get a 20 to 30% haircut looking out over the next few months and into next year, and I believe tech is going to have quite the bounce. This was not the generational top people think it was. People are trying to make this what I expect to happen in 2029. That's where people are offsides.
Out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
All right, dude, let's wrap this up. Wow, hour and 45 minutes. It's been a while since we've done that, but when the conversation's flowing, I thought this was gonna be a short show today. So cool. A bunch of you stuck around, and I appreciate that too. Anything you want to throw into the mix before we do the rundown?
No.
Well, guys, it's been a slice. We are all going to die.
I am going to log off. I'm going to watch my stream on the Ropsten. There's a live stream of devs talking nerdy shit about Ropsten.
Oh, I thought it was just like a block explorer showing it in real time.
Oh, I'll have that up on
a good one.
I'll have that up on the screen while they're talking about it. I'm going to watch
Link me to that. I would watch that for a little bit.
In a little bit, and then it's going to be all Star Wolves. Working on Star Wolves stuff until 4 p.m. when we have our beautiful terrestrial Thursday. So
yeah, we got a guy from Lego that's doing an NFT project, but pretty in the in
you say
game.
Lego?
Yeah,
on our show.
Yeah,
Lego. He doesn't still work at Lego.
I maybe not. I don't know. I'll double check with that.
Okay, I mean, this is very.
It's not okay. This is not a Lego project he's doing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
I was gonna say this is. Someone
no.
Someone bought Lego.eth for 35 ETH.
Wow, seems like a bargain. Was it Lego?
I don't think so. I didn't double check, but some degen claims to have bought it and then tweeted out. Just think of all the subdomains I could create. Batman.lego.eth, Disney.lego.eth. Because if you guys don't know, you can create subdomains for your ENS that will redirect people there, and you can put anything you want in front of it. There's a lot of this.
Anyone can do that, or you have to own the domain to be able to do it?
Yes, you have to. Oh, I'm saying you have.
That's what I'm saying.
You can create subdomains for your ENS. So there's interesting implications there. He is obviously leaning into the "I'm going to extort Lego in the future" thing, which I cheekingly say extort, but look, that's why we're here. We're buying real estate early in the hopes that other people are going to come pay us a lot more money for it in the future.
Yeah.
It's real estate. That's all.
Well, that was like, I mean, it's the game that's played. There was a really fascinating story about when Disneyland was finally successful out in California.
Yeah.
He very quietly wanted to expand into Florida. But they require a absolute metric fuck ton of land to be able to build one of these theme parks, and so he had to make a bunch of different shell corporations and stuff like that to start slowly acquiring the land without tipping anybody off that it was Disney buying this, because the second that people found out it was Disney, the price obviously was going to go up substantially. he ended up buying all of this acreage in the area that they were building in that would eventually be Disney World. At the time, I think it was like tens of dollars per acre in bulk or something. It was really cheap. It was, a good deal. Eventually the jig was up and people found out that it was Disney World and that they were going to need this land and whatever. Land immediately shot up to like $1,000 an acre, like 100x, right? That's the game to play, right? Yep. And I'm sure there were other people jumping in there, buying up land around that area that knew that they were up to something, right?
Brilliant.
I'm gonna go fucking buy this land and then sell it back to Disney because I know they're gonna need it anyways. That's the game they play.
ENS had a record month last. I know it's like a thesis that's out there, but shit, I can't. Stop trying to invent or come up with your own what's going to be valuable in the future, and actually go invest in some of the There's some cheap, good names on OpenSea. 3 letters, 3 numbers. Words and stuff. Yeah, you're not going to be paying whatever 0.005 and shit, but when you're thinking about like what NFT is a good long-term buy, I can't stress good ENS names. 1 words. Go look for the 1 word, even if it's not a word. Like, you're not looking to use it as yours, but you go buy a good 1 word, or common phrases that like right away. Think like that's something simple like that, because it's, first of all, it sounds like a startup someone would start in Silicon Valley, like, oh, the new unicorn right away. It gets you your packages instantly. You don't have to wait for whatever, like it sounds like that. And those type of phrases are easy for someone, like, where should you send my money? Right away.eth. You know what I mean? Like, think of things like that. The ENS, very untapped, going to be huge. God, Ethereum is cool, man.
All right, on that note, we are going to wrap it up. I think most people just bailed when we thought we did the pump fake and said we were going to wrap it up. Crypto trading very, very sideways in the last 24 hours. Talked about Jay-Z and Jack Dorsey launching a Bitcoin Academy in Marcy. Anthony Hopkins getting into Ethereum NFTs, reaching out to Snoop Dogg, Jimmy Fallon, and the rest of the MoonPay crew, I guess, to pick some up. But I'm very bullish about that, actually. We skipped over ApeCoin, staying on Ethereum. Good for them. Ropstein Network test went live yesterday for ETH 2.0. No news is good news, I think, in that regard. We are all going to die, still doing weird shit. Price goes up, price goes down. Weird as fuck.
That was good. I like how casually you said, still doing weird shit.
Yeah, well, what else do you want me to say? We went on a good tangent about poker, too, so if you like poker and you missed that, it's towards the end of the show. Almost 2 hours, free market, love you, go do your thing, check in with the ETH devs, see what they're doing, make sure the devs are doing something, enjoy your squeeze. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around, always love it. If you want to throw us a like, greatly appreciated. If you don't, all good. We will be back on for the final show of, actually, I'm going to let you know later today. Might need a rain check tomorrow. I think it should be fine, though. Yeah, if not, 9:30 tomorrow. And, of course, next week, we do the thing. All right, free market, get us out of here.
It puts the wagme on its skin, or it gets
I just
the
saw
hose
that
again.